Welcome to Hollywood Impact. My name is Eric Grubbs. To my far right is my partner there, Christian McCrite.
What's up?
And today we have a very special guest.
Our first guest. First one, yeah.
Sam Appleby. Sammy, how's it going?
What an honor. It's great to be here. Thanks for having me here.
Of course.
So, just so the audience has just a little bit of background on us, Sammy and I are both teachers. And Christian is a former student of mine.
Yeah. Not of mine.
I was going to be a teacher, but then I
you realized you wanted to try to make money instead.
Wow.
You want to be able to raise a family.
I decided that I wanted to work retail and try to make a living doing this. So here's to hoping.
So we've kind of got, we're going to talk X-Men 97 today.
We are. X-Men 97. Did either of you watch the original show?
I did as a kid. The X-Men, it was probably the last cartoon that I actually got up to watch on Saturday morning.
Okay.
So I kind of the same way. I only caught glimpses of it. I wasn't like a 10:30 every morning. I'm waking up, X-Men, or not 97 at the time. It was just
X-Men, yeah.
Right. Still.
I had zero knowledge about. I mean, I knew that there was a show. I guess I saw like some guy do like a remix on the theme song, and I was like, there was a show for X-Men, and I was like, oh, whatever.
That was the first thing I thought about when they even announced that they're doing X-Men 97. It was like, oh, the theme song's come back. It's so iconic. It's one of the. I mean,
it is very catchy.
It's one of the best theme songs for a TV show in my mind.
Well, they did the opening almost exactly the same as they did in the original one too.
Yeah, except the animation's way better. My gosh,
but it's the same style of animation, though.
Right.
Like,
and that was really cool. That was a really nice surprise. Is that it didn't look like it was really made in 2024.
Yeah,
it looked like it was made in 97, but just like remastered.
Right.
And I think that's kind of cool.
Yeah, that's one thing we'll probably get into as we talk about the episodes. It was just in continuity.
Yes.
It just picked up right where it left off in 97.
Now, keep in mind, I am not an expert on anything X-Men. X-Men, this is a hot take here. This is a hot take, all right?
All right.
So, we're at fight. X-Men is one of my least favorite Marvel properties.
Okay.
And I don't know why. I think it's because my only exposure to X-Men was those 3 movies with Hugh Jackman and all those lovely people, but like only one of those movies was actually decent in my opinion, and that was the second one. So I don't like The Last Stand, not too big on the first one, think it's a little boring. So X-Men is not in my like echelon of Marvel legends. Now the new Deadpool and Wolverine stuff looks awesome.
Well, what about the First Class movies? Did you like those?
Those are really good. Those are different.
Yeah.
Those kind of started getting me to love them. But like, but as a whole, like when this show came out, I was not like bursting at the seams to watch this show the day it released.
Yeah.
I'm not too big on X-Men. I'm more of an Avengers guy, but I also like obscure things like Daredevil and Ghost Rider, some of my favorite Marvel stuff. So things that aren't as
But like
popular.
you said, a generational type thing.
Yeah, it's different.
Because I was a big fan of those. But I was younger when the X-Men movies came out. You know, when you're younger, you kind of have more of a tolerance for... Because I did rewatch the first one a while back. I'm like, oh, this isn't great. Shout out Halle Berry. She is in the first.
She is.
Yeah, don't want to disrespect Halle Berry.
No, yeah, she was the best part of the original X-Men trilogy for sure.
My gosh.
Shout out Storm.
All right, so how do you guys want to start this?
Well, I just want to make it clear too, is like I do really like the X-Men. Don't get me wrong. Mm-hmm. I am not. There is so much lore with the X-Men.
Yeah.
I am not an expert. Kind of like when we talked about Star Wars. I'm into the live action stuff. I'm into this cartoon. The comics, there's a lot of stuff I don't know. So before anybody gets too upset about any of the takes, I just want to make that clear.
Yeah.
But I would consider myself more than a casual fan, but not a super fan.
I see.
Yeah, like an in-between.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's like a very neutral experience.
Sure.
Yeah.
But no, overall I really enjoyed it. I mean, it brought me back to when I was a kid watching it the first time. There were some things that I just didn't remember. Like I didn't remember that Professor X died in the finale.
I told you this, but I had to watch a YouTube video to kind of get myself caught up because Professor X had died. And I was like, is this supposed to be happening in episode 1? Like, we're supposed to just know that he got killed? And then it kind of gave a breakdown of it. So I had a little more background knowledge of it.
It is helpful in, like, trying to bridge that information. Like, it tries to be, like, its own thing, and I think that's very helpful for it, and it gives like a new light to a lot of the characters because they focus on Charles a lot in like a lot of the movies and stuff, and I like that they're focusing more on other characters that don't have as much of the spotlight. Like Wolverine is, he's a big part of the show, but he doesn't get as much screen time as some of the others, and I think that's a good thing. I think it's a good thing to make Cyclops actually an enjoyable character to watch, and Storm has something cool to do. Like it's very different.
Well, in that first episode, you actually see Cyclops do cool stuff.
Yeah,
like when they're falling out of the plane, and all the ones that can fly are good, and he's like, "All right, X-Men," and then he uses the laser to kind of slow his descent.
My wife hated that part.
Oh my god, that was cool.
She hated it. She's like, "How did he do that?" I was like, "It's lasers." Yeah, like. Lasers.
He finally does something cool because the movies don't do him justice at all.
No, they don't. They make him kind of a whiny
He's
little
always
dude.
like saved for like that one scene that's like, okay, somebody needs like a laser right now, and that's like, oh, he's like, this is my time.
Yeah.
But he doesn't really do much else. But in this show, he gets so much more to do.
And we don't get much into the Jean Grey Scott Summers relationship in the movies. In the trilogy you were talking about, the First Class one's a little bit, but you just get the beginnings of the relationship. Yeah. So you don't get that much insight. And it's a huge, and I'm not a comic guy either. I mean, I look up what happens in the comics. Never read a comic in my life.
Me neither.
But that is a big, I mean, as you'll see as we talk about the episodes going further, it's a big part of X-Men lore and Marvel lore in general.
So what did you guys think about the first few episodes?
I thought they were good. I mean, there's a lot that goes on in these cartoons that, like, if you imagine them in a movie, like, this is like an entire movie, but they'll just get into an episode. But in the cartoons, there's always so much, like, exposition, like, so much dialogue explaining this is why I'm doing this and all that. But,
I appreciate it, though.
Yeah, I do, too, because, there's just limited time, but it's like, there's big things that happen. It's like Magneto's now the head of the X-Men.
I thought that was so cool.
Storm loses her powers, right? Just,
pretty early on.
Yeah, I think it's the second
Spoiler alert, by the way.
And then, like, there's a clone of Jean Grey. She's the clone. Like, there's a lot that happens. And then the introduction of Mr. Sinister, I think that was at the end of episode 3, maybe. I can't remember. But
it follows the patterns of, like, old, like, cartoon shows. That's, like... There's a lot of wacky stuff that happens in each episode, and each episode has its own merit of something big is going on.
Yeah.
And spoiler alert for a lot of this, because this is like a discussion of this show.
Right.
Yeah, I feel like you probably need to watch it.
Yeah. Go watch it, and then come back. Having Storm getting her powers taken away, like within like the first few episodes, I was a little worried because I was like, I was hoping Storm would be like a standout character, and to have her powers taken away really quickly, I'm like, where's this going to go? Like, is she just like a plot device? It turns out she actually has quite a bit to do afterwards. I think her story's pretty cool.
That's what I appreciated, that it didn't just drop her and then she comes back, Deus Ex Machina style. Where it's just like, oh, out of nowhere, by the way, she's back. Like, we actually saw her story develop.
And I love that. I love Magneto. If you watch this show and you don't love Magneto coming out of this show, you got a problem, I think. Because I love Magneto. I think he's like the standout character in this show, because you can tell, like, at the majority of the show, he is trying his darndest to be that guy. He is trying to hold everything together, trying to hold back his worst impulses. I love his introduction where, like, they like walk into the office and he's like, "It's mine now." I like, it seems evil, but then like it's actually kind of not.
See, I was waiting for a turn the whole time.
Yeah, I was waiting for it.
Yeah.
But he was honoring, it's very deep. He was honoring him and Xavier's agreement back in the bar. Actually make it, or not in the bar, but they had an agreement to try to get along with humans before the show ended.
Yeah.
So it honored that.
What did you guys think of the Magneto Rogue situation?
I have a couple notes on it. I'm not going to share them because I'm a teacher. I do like my job. I'm not going to share all my thoughts on it.
Well, I guess this was...
It was weird.
It was weird.
It was weird.
I'm a teacher. I do like my job.
How old's Magneto? He's got to be, what, 70?
Yeah.
I mean, and
She's got gray hair, though.
yeah, but no, Rogue's young, right?
I think so.
I didn't.
was weird.
I guess that was a thing in the comics, though.
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah.
But I didn't know that at the time, so I'm like, wait, what?
I only,
What's going on here?
I only knew that whenever I had seen like before you watch this, you should know this, like those kind of YouTube ones.
Yeah.
And one of those things was, they actually have a relationship. Then I tried to think about like the live action movies, and I'm like, that's weird.
It would
I'm
be
like,
weird.
I was like, that's really weird.
Yeah.
Who are we gonna cast as Rogue live action?
Who are we going to cast as Rogue?
That's a
Are we
great
do
question.
a separate video of
Could you
Rogue
listen?
rankings?
I think Sydney Sweeney would be an excellent Rogue as long as she could do the accent.
Sydney Sweeney.
As long as she
Interesting.
could drop that sugar. If she could do that,
Tammy
I'm all
Taylor?
in.
They had to be able to nail that like Southern accent.
That was
for
the
sure.
original. Well, one thing I did really like about the show was they had a lot of the same voice actors.
Yes.
Wolverine was the same.
Yeah.
Rogue was the same. I know there were a few others.
Right.
But I like that.
Yeah. Were there any characters that you thought kind of disappointed you? Just like characters who like didn't get as much, or you didn't really like what they did with it?
I know you were talking about Wolverine not having a lot, and you liked it, and I agree to a point. But I mean, you're watching X-Men. He's the guy.
An icon. He's an icon.
He's got to have something. But as we'll talk about, probably there's probably going to be a season 2. It seems like.
I think so. Yeah.
It seems very set up, so maybe they do more with him moving forward. Him and Beast, like, dude, Beast is like the captain. He's got a. I mean, I know Cyclops is the captain, but like,
Beast
got treated like the girl that's on NCIS, that's like at the computer and just like analyzing.
I feel like
he
what are we doing?
after anything Beast says, like if you're watching it and you just play a game where like, all right, Beast says something and you just say, "Shut up, nerd," like it would work.
It's fair.
He spends a lot of his time like making like book references and all that kind of stuff while he's fighting, and I'm like, I think he thinks he's in a different world.
Yeah.
Like I think
He doesn't know where he is.
I think this guy
He's
doesn't
an
know what's
insane
going
person.
on.
Yeah.
But I still thought he was funny.
Yeah.
But I mean, that's really interesting because like I know that Wolverine's an icon, but yeah, like I liked that he was pushed down just a little bit. But there were other characters where I felt like they didn't give as much attention to, like Sunspot. Like they had an interesting story with him, like with, oh, he's a mutant, but his parents really don't know. He's afraid he'll lose everything if he does. But other than just specifically that, they don't do anything with Sunspot.
Not till the end. You
Yeah.
actually see him use his powers
No,
at all.
Right.
he helps Jubilee in one of the strangest episodes, which was where Jubilee and Sunspot get stuck in a video game
Episode
against
4.
Mojo.
I will never forget it. My first thought is, what the bleep on episode 4.
He's like, yo,
Yeah, I didn't know what was going on there.
Is this?
We brought Mojo into it, which I'm not super familiar with Mojo as the villain. Yeah, that felt like a filler episode. Like,
Yeah.
hey,
It
we
did.
need 10 episodes. Hey, let's throw a Jubilee up. By the way, Jubilee,
Oh yeah, she's
all
on
due
the
respect,
show.
all due respect, like, yeah, she's kind of like Beast for me. It's like, shut up, dork. Like, here, let me shoot my fireworks at you. Like,
Yeah, she's
go
an
away.
old-
Go play at the kiddie table.
wow. She is kind of like that, like punky teenager sort of vibe.
Yeah.
Like, I'd rather just sit and do nothing and
Yeah.
like, let's play this video game. It was a very strange episode, but even in that episode, Sunspot is like by her side, and they kind of like really rush like their like romantic tension, and he just does nothing. He gets like wiped by Magneto
Yeah.
like immediately. So
Well, he joins Magneto.
so poor Sunspot. What a cool character that just gets absolutely screwed.
Is that a new character? I don't remember that one from
I think so.
the
It's
original
not
series.
It's not
Oh,
a
the original
new-
series. No.
Yeah, I don't know if it was in the original series, but it's not a new character. It's a character that's always been around.
Okay.
But I mean, they chose to place him in this story, and I think part of it was to bring in that lens of how humans feel about mutants, which they harp on every single episode in every single movie. Every single episode in every movie is about, oh, humans don't treat the mutants right. And that's one of my big problems with X-Men, is because it's a very tension-filled story, because it's about like tolerance and, you know, like coexisting with people who are different than you. And I like that aspect to it, but they kind of, that's kind of the only nail they really have in their coffin when it comes to like the world as a whole. That's kind of the only nail they really beat into it.
Yeah.
And because they have like little small like I enjoy the stories about the characters more than I do humans versus mutants. But they really try to hammer that, oh, humans bad, mutants good, but some mutants bad, and that's, I think it's overplayed.
Well, like people don't have a problem with just people becoming superheroes.
Yeah.
So I don't get it. Like, why are humans so mad that, you know, it's just like, just in real life, you know, like people, it's science. Like, some people have more levels of melanin in their system, and it's like, I don't like that. You know what I mean? And it's like, stop it. Like, why we gotta do this?
He's like, oh, you're different.
You're different. Ugh, I don't like it.
Absolute rage compilation.
I think it's fine as like because, you know, you have the Superman kind of, well, do we trust this guy? Is he too powerful? It's interesting as like a sub story, but when it's, like you said, nailed home every episode, I'm like, all right, I remember. Humans don't like him. I remember. I got it.
Yeah.
Okay, so like super spoiler, right? The Avengers in very, very tiny amounts show up in this show.
Yeah.
More towards the later half.
Right.
So why is it that they like adore the Avengers but they hate mutants?
Yeah, I don't get it either.
Like,
Yeah.
Explain that to me.
It
Come
doesn't
on,
make
please.
sense.
Well, Spider-Man's technically a mutant.
Yeah. So
Like, he didn't-
I mean,
he's-
like
He wasn't born with it.
Yeah,
Because that's like the
he's
only
not Iron
difference.
Man.
Yeah, that is the only difference in like the Avengers. Like, they're okay with like Thor.
Yeah.
He came
He was
from
born with it?
space.
He's a god.
Yeah, but you know, they're not cool with some dude that can.
they never try to exterminate the Avengers
Yeah.
or try to take away their powers, but
Right.
they try to take away powers of mutants. And
They're like muties.
I like that part. I just
Not
don't,
in that way.
I don't get.
The Avengers movies, they do have the like Sokovia, is that what it is?
Yeah, the
Sokovia
Sokovia
Accords. You know,
Accords.
they
Yeah.
do have the checks and balances thing, but it's not like
It's not
that.
hate-filled.
It's not like, I hate you because of who you
It's
are.
like, wow, I hate you because your muscles are so big and mine are not.
I do get that. I do understand.
It's like, I do understand that, brother.
Oh my gosh.
Sorry. I had to do it.
So, hey, I have a question. 2 questions.
Okay.
1, how are we going to bring the X-Men in the MCU? And 2, follow up. If we did a live action X-Men, could we do it not continuing this story, but like the same costumes, like with the colors? Would that
The
work?
original, I would love if they used the original colors.
I was
the
so
original
mad when they,
costumes.
kind of going on a tangent here, but Wolverine, I think it was Origins. The end of the movie, he's on the private jet, and they show the costume, do nothing with it.
Yeah, they show
It's-
the OG costume.
Yeah,
and that.
with the yellow, the helmet, and all
Yeah.
that. Does nothing with it.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So
it is
I
sad.
agree. But they do have the original outfit in the Deadpool Wolverine
I
trailers.
did, yeah.
They do. So
And I
maybe
feel
that
like-
answers one of your questions.
And I feel like that might have something to do with it.
Was it the last Captain Marvel movie? Was like the end credits? It showed Beast
Beast. Yeah.
from like, but it was like X-Men 97 looking Beast with the white lab coat.
Yeah.
Like, I'm wondering if they're hinting at that's what the look for the X-Men is going to be
Yeah.
in the MCU. I don't know.
Just part of a different universe, that sort of thing. I don't know.
how in the hell they're going to bring him in.
I don't know. That's a great question.
And it kind of goes back to that problem I have with Marvel, which is, where have they been?
Yeah.
Like, if these mutants have existed on Earth 616 or whatever, where have you been for, I don't know, since World War II?
Yeah.
Like, any of you.
Since Ultron and Thanos.
Yeah, did any of you want to step in?
Like, please, anytime.
Anytime.
Come off the bench.
Magneto, you be good for Ultron.
Coach, put him in. He's ready to play.
Yeah.
No, like I totally agree, and that's one of the things that weirded me out about like the end of the show is that like the big asteroid is like coming down to Earth, and the Avengers are just watching on TV. They're just like, oh wow,
Iron Man's chilling with the president.
And I'm like, come on, you can make it over there. At least, at the very least, Thor and Iron Man could make it over there at whatever time they wanted to. But no, I don't know how they would introduce him. I'm sure that Deadpool and Wolverine will kind of help bridge that gap.
Sure.
But when it comes to the rest of them, I don't know, because that's a good question. Like, if you've been there, well, what are you doing?
Yeah.
And if you're not there, then is it just like a multiversal worlds collide sort of thing?
That's kind of what I'm thinking, because maybe I'm wrong here. I swear there was a part where, and this is going to be weird, and I'm probably wrong, but there's like I don't know, it's some kind of like statue-looking thing of Ant-Man's head, of his helmet.
It is.
Okay, I'm right there? Okay,
right.
I saw that in the Wolverine Deadpool trailer.
Okay, yeah.
So I'm thinking we do Doctor Strange Multiverse of Madness type, where we go and try to like, I don't know if he's trying to fix, trying to reboot, I don't know what we're doing, but it feels multiverse stuff.
Yeah.
With Deadpool, Wolverine.
And it could be connected to Kang the Conqueror. I don't know what they're doing with him now, because now Jonathan Majors
got in trouble.
but I mean, they recasted him. I think they recasted Kang the Conqueror. I
thought
don't remember exactly, but even if they scrap it, even if they continue to use it, it's probably going to have to do with multiversal stuff, because that's where the directions are heading with that. So it's a great question. And yes, they should wear the original costumes.
Yeah, I think it'd be cool if they did.
It'd be a good introduction to people that maybe aren't as familiar with X-Men too.
Sure.
Yeah. Who was your favorite character in this show?
Go ahead, Sam.
Me? Okay.
Yeah.
I guess I'm guest. Go first.
Yeah,
my
guest,
favorite character, I don't know. I really don't, because there were so many that had.
He's like, they all suck.
No, the only ones I didn't like. I'm not a Gambit guy. I thought they did him pretty well in the show.
Whoa. Why are you not a Gambit
What's
guy?
wrong with Gambit?
It's just, I don't get it.
He's a Southern guy that speaks French for like half of his
He's
sentences.
Cajun.
Yeah, I don't like Cajun people.
Can,
I'm kidding.
you're going to get canceled right away.
LSU sucks. No, I think my favorite one would probably, honestly, be Cyclops in this. I think they did really well with the whole dilemma of him wanting to be the leader, but wanting to be kind of go do his own thing. You can kind of relate to that. Like, we're trying to have our own family, but there's that natural pull. I think there's a part in the later episodes where he says something about, he's talking to Professor X about why he didn't give him the X-Men.
Yeah.
And he's like, because I wanted you to have your own family. He's
Yeah.
like, but you knew if something would happen, we'd get pulled right in. And it's just that never-ending cycle of like, well, do I want to go away, but I can't go away? And I think they did really well diving into that. And Jean Grey becomes a clone. It's like, who do I love? One's the mother of my child. One's the original. I think they do a really good job with that. Dive into it a lot.
That was really interesting. Like with the Jean Grey clone stuff, and it introduced Cable, and I think Cable's a really cool character.
I like Cable.
But then there's the scene where the clone of Jean Grey is talking to the real Jean Grey, as far as we know, and he's like, "You can call me Madeline Pryor." I'm like, "Were you thinking about that? Like when did that ever come up? Like, why does that matter?" And that's how they refer to her for the rest of the show. But I was like, I guess that's important. I don't know.
Yeah.
I'm not familiar if she's like a big character in the comics or not, but I don't know.
I think she's in the lore, but again, I'm not familiar with it either.
The lore. Yeah, no. Not
But yeah, again, I think Cyclops, okay, whatever. He doesn't do a ton as superhero Cyclops, but I like the character development of Scott Summers as a leader.
He is one of the best characters in this show, for sure.
Yeah.
You?
Well, for me, I don't know if he's my favorite, but most interesting was Bastion.
Interesting.
Like, that was a pretty... To me, that was cool. I had no background on him at all.
Right.
But he's like a human / sentinel.
Yeah, android type.
Type.
Yeah.
Like, that is something on the big screen in live action.
Would be so cool.
That's like Thanos level type of villain, I think.
Yeah.
And I think that would be really cool to see.
Yeah.
The voice actor's cool too. Theo James, he was on The Gentleman.
Oh yeah, yeah.
He did a great job there too. I
didn't realize it was Theo James.
Yeah.
Well, I think that mine was Magneto. I've already said this earlier, but come on. I mean, he looks so much different than the live action. And to me, the First Class Magneto will always be like my favorite Magneto.
Michael Fassbender.
He's so
he's
good.
solid.
Even in like the movie, the X-Men Apocalypse, which was not very well received, and X-Men Dark Phoenix. Bless their heart in the most southern way I can say. He acts his butt off, and he's so good. He's like the best character in all those movies. And Magneto is just a very fascinating character because he's the one he has like the most tragic past of anybody in the room, and it's even more emotional because he went through something that actually happened like in real life, like a real life event. And so it's easier for us to get attached to him. And I like seeing that conflict of him saying like, oh, like I want to just bust up these people really bad, but Charles would like bite my heel for it right now. And I like seeing that because you see a lot of up and down for him, a lot of development. And I think that roller coaster was the most fascinating part about the show.
I love that it's sincere though. It's not. It is. See, I guess I'm too ingrained in the Marvel formula where it's like he has some agenda, he's gonna seem really nice, and everything's gonna seem all hunky dory, and then he's gonna turn.
Backstab.
But no, he was genuinely like, I do not like humans, but I am trying. I think he said specifically, like, I am trying really hard. Yeah. And yeah, it was sincere, which I appreciated.
Super cool.
Well, to be at that age and still land rogue, dude. Go on, Magneto.
Hey, shout out his hair though. His hair
he's a silver fox.
He is a silver fox. It's flowing.
His hair was luscious.
And he's right. Like Magneto's right about so much stuff.
Yeah, he is.
That you just don't want to admit to, but like, ooh, Magneto's right.
Kind of.
Yeah. And then that was like one of the cool parts when I don't remember what her name is, but she's like the secretary person,
the blonde lady.
The blonde lady who was like, Magneto was right.
Yeah.
And so cool. Love that stuff. Yeah. Anyways, this is a pretty good show. So
it is.
What would you all rate it out of 10?
Oh, geez. I'm probably going to give it a 7.5. It's good. I enjoyed it. But X-Men, to me, it requires a lot of prior knowledge.
Yeah.
Like, if I could go back and probably watch some videos to catch myself up and do a little bit more research, I would have enjoyed it better. I think it would be tough for just like a casual fan to pick up for the first time and watch.
Yeah.
But again, I really liked it. I enjoyed it. I mean, it brought me back to my childhood days watching it. So yeah, I'm going to give it a 7.5.
Okay.
I mean, I didn't know how we were going to do this. I didn't know if we were going episode by episode. So I had notes. There are some episodes like episode 4 where I'm just like, what are we doing here? But that's really the only one. So in terms of that, I say solid. Episode 5 is one where I was like, oh, this is... So if you haven't seen it yet, I know, just wait till episode 5. But if you're like, I don't know, it's kind of slow, I don't know if I'm loving it, episode 5 will draw you in. Once you get past like 7, that's where the action really starts, and it's really good.
How about you give us your ranking?
Give us your number. I'm just giving you my background. You can cut this out.
You're totally fine.
No. Let's see.
I'm kidding.
No, you're good. I would say it's got to be in the 7s. 7. I'll just be nicer than you.
7.
Oh,
yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Okay. I think I'm also going to give this a 7.5. I think this is one of the few things where it's X-Men and I continuously watched and didn't get distracted too much. A few of the episodes, I think the first 4 are like, or the first 3, I'd say the first 3 are really strong. First 3 episodes are really strong. And I'd say the last 3 episodes are also really strong.
Yeah.
But I would say that like the few middle ones, kind of my interest dipped a little in and out. Storm had some interesting things to do, and I know we didn't really talk about this, but like her journey was cool, but they kind of, it has those similar patterns to old shows, as I said earlier, where they're like throw-in villains like for like half an episode just because it's
like that Demon Bird thing.
Yeah, like the Demon Bird thing and Mojo and stuff like that, and which has no like real consequence to the overall story necessarily, but it's just like for that person. So there's a little weird stuff like that.
On him too, or
Hey, no, listen. You just sit there and you just wait for him to give his number.
Sorry, I'm the guest here. I gotta know your role.
No, so wow. But yeah, I think I'm gonna go. I'm gonna go 7.5. I'm gonna agree with you. I'm gonna agree with you on
All
that.
right.
Yeah. So you liked it a little bit more than both of us. That's very interesting.
I mean, not as good as Loki season 1, but it's one of the better stuff they put on Disney Plus.
The theme song's really good.
Theme song's iconic.
The theme song may have bumped it up half a point for me.
I watched the opening scene like every time. I
never
skipped
it.
I never skipped it.
No.
All right. Well, thank you so much for joining us, and thank you so much, Sam, for coming on.
I appreciate it.
This is fun.
Even though I got yelled at for
fun.
taking too long. My bad. Thank you.
All right, guys, that's it for us. Thank you. Please like, share, subscribe. Let us know what you think, and we'll see you next time.
See you later.